claustrophobic in here. God damn it.
Where's the music?
Did the music run out and we are live and nobody gave you a signal?
Yes.
I totally didn't see the signal. Guys, what's up? Welcome to the Future Live. You guys know me. I am Mr. Ben Burns. Today, we're going to be critiquing your websites. We have 6 sites that people had submitted. And, this is obviously unscripted. It's definitely unrehearsed. And we're just flying by the seat of our pants. So this is raw. Welcome back. All right, let's introduce the teams. Sitting next to me, we have Lassiter. Lassiter, tell the people about yourself.
I am Lassiter. I'm the marketing and web development intern here at the Futur.
Woo!
I am going to be critiquing the development side of your websites, and Ben is going to be doing the design side.
Yeah, man. It's going to be fun. And then out in the production area, the green room, we have the rest of the dream team. Guys, introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? I'm Aaron.
You guys know us by now. I'm Molly. And let me just say that it's Aaron's birthday today.
Woo! Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Special episode. Oops, sorry.
A year wiser.
And I'm Erica, continuing my editing, transition into more of the cutting here.
I'm getting phased out.
Thank
That's
you.
what's happening here.
Thank
I'm getting phased out.
Erica.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, guys. All right, so before we kick things off, we have mostly portfolios submitted, but I wanted to just kind of like frame this critique and this review in that we're not reviewing portfolios, meaning we're not going to review people's actual work. Unless it directly contributes to the experience of the site, I'm not going to say, hey, this is a great logo, this is a bad logo, we need to fix this kind of stuff, and that's the way we're going to kind of tackle this. Luckily, we have everybody in the Zoom chat, so I'm super excited to talk with everybody in there, and I'm ready.
I'm ready to go.
All right, so before we dig in, I want to talk about a couple of things. Whenever we're reviewing websites, it helps to have a set of broad rules that we kind of base our critique upon. And the best, hands down, is this set of heuristics, this usability heuristics by Jacob Nielsen. And heuristic is kind of a fancy word for a broad rule. So he has 10 rules in place, but I want to focus on 4 of them. The first is user control and freedom. So he says that users often choose system functions by mistake, and they'll need a clearly marked exit sign. So we want to make sure that the tools that the user is actually used to using, their mouse, the scroll function, the computer, that we're allowing them the flexibility to actually use that stuff, and giving them the option to undo and back out and that kind of stuff. The second, consistency and standards. So as a user progresses through the site, it's really difficult to navigate things if they're having to guess what different typography, what different buttons, what different stylings mean. So if you have one call to action styled in a certain way and then a second styled completely different, it's going to throw mixed messages to the user. So we want to make sure that we remain consistency throughout the experience. So the third one I want to talk about is flexibility and efficiency of use. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we want to make sure that the user can navigate through the site really easily. The last one, and this is kind of my favorite one to critique, is aesthetic and minimalist design. Team out in the front. Molly, what do you think of these rules, these heuristics?
I'm going to pass that off to Aaron right now because
let me
I was
jump in
just confirming that we are live and streaming. I'm sorry.
Oh, right on.
Ben, I just needed to manage this.
So, by the way, we are confirmed. We're broadcasting everywhere.
That's good.
Is that funny?
All right, cool.
It's an
I
important
wanted to
detail.
ask about
Yeah.
your. Could you just? So the ones I heard is like it should be easy to just do what I want on the website.
Yep.
It should aesthetic be very clean, simple, minimal.
Right.
And what was the first one?
So user control and freedom. So we want to make sure that the tools that they have, they're used to using, they're free to use those, like the mouse.
Yeah.
So if a website, didn't allow you to use your mouse, that would cause chaos and confusion, right?
Yeah, it would. That sounds like an obvious one, though, right?
It is obvious, but as you'll see as we dig in, there are some things that are blocked on these sites that we're going to talk about.
Okay.
All right, so let's dig in. So first up, we have Nicci Van. I'm going to pull her up. Can we say hey to Nicci?
Yep. 1 minute. Nicci Van. She doesn't have a video
No
up.
video?
No. Oh, Nicci.
Nicci.
No
Aw.
video? Skip.
No,
Next.
we can't skip her.
We can't skip. This is. She has an awesome website.
Let me see.
Okay.
Nicci, can we hear you?
Yeah,
You say
unmute.
hi?
Okay. Hi.
What do you do? What's your story? Just give me like a brief 10-second, like, hey, I'm a designer. What's your elevator pitch? Who are you?
Well,
I'm looking at your site. It's really nicely laid out. My initial gut reaction is just it's a gorgeous typographical layout. Can I ask you, what's your goal for this site? What do you want to happen here?
client.
Gotcha. Okay, so you want to show your work,
Mm-hmm.
and what do you want the lead, the client, the potential employer to do after they've visited this site? What's the action that you want them to take?
One sec, Ben. Can you pause this for a second?
I
We got a
want them
technical
to
issue.
contact me.
Oh, yeah,
Reach
definitely.
out to- Mhm.
Could you let her know too?
Yeah, so Nicci, I guess we have a technical issue. that
They,
we're gonna-
they can't hear you on split screen, so hold on. We're just going to fix that.
Oh, okay.
It's Erica's fault, by the way. It's not mine.
Blame
In case you
the
wanted to
new
know.
girl.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's okay. I threw Molly under the bus yesterday.
Yeah. I'm used to it. I'm used to it right now by Chris.
What are you talking about? It works fine.
Okay, is it?
And can we also see her website too? Do we
This
have
is
that?
Yeah,
this
this is
is
it.
it.
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We're good. Tell her sorry about that, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, sorry about that, Nicci. I know that you guys, basically the people in the Zoom conference can't hear Aaron and Molly, so I kind of have to like translate that message. So excuse that, guys. All right, so Nicci, what's the action that you want people to take on your website? What's that goal?
I want them to contact me through email.
Contact through email.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right, I'm taking notes as we go along. So basically, the way that we're going to structure these critiques is basically we're going to talk about our gut reaction. That's just the initial, scrolling through the website. And then we're going to talk about if this really meets the goal that you have for the site. And then briefly kind of touch on what the user's goal is going to be. So if your target user is, an employer or, a lead that you want to send you money and to contact you and hire you, what's their goal going to be? So we'll take a guess at that in a second. Then we're going to talk about usability, the aesthetics, and then Lasser is going to get under the hood. Uh-oh. All right. So initially, my gut reaction is this is a beautiful site. As you can see, as I'm going to scroll through this, and as you hover over each one of these pieces, these are portfolio pieces. We see this kind of gorgeous Ken Burns effect with a preview image. So, and then when you click into it,
Hey Ben, you want to share your screen so the Zoom people can see
oh yeah, they can see.
on the Christo?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
just make sure.
So, and when we dig into each piece, we have a nice like story. We have that gorgeous imagery right off the bat. And what I really like about this site is that you take me through the entire story of each piece. So I'm looking at wireframes here that's accentuated by mock-ups of the actual thing. And let me ask you, is this project out in the real world, Nicci?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's just a concept.
Is this student work?
Yes, it was.
That is awesome.
I love
Thank you.
this
Yeah.
website.
That is awesome.
Thank you. I just graduated 3 months ago, so most of them are student work.
Okay.
Cool. Okay,
Where'd she
great.
graduate from?
Where'd you graduate from?
San Diego State.
Gotcha. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, the comments from the crew is they love it. Molly loves the site. So I love the layout. I like the information up front. Nicely done. Let's take a look at the contact page. So when we dig into the contact page, we've got a form, which is awesome. That's something that I preach about all the time. You want to have kind of like a both options. If your goal is to get the lead to contact you or the employer to contact you, you want to make sure that you have a web form, but also your contact information off the side.
Yeah.
So that, you want to give them options. So let's talk about the messaging. So I'm going to go back to the home page. So when we take a look at the messaging on the home page, what we have is a list of selected projects. And you say that here, but right off the bat, I almost kind of missed that these were projects. And so I was reading this and I was saying Lettersmith, Papery, Spur by Ari, and it was a little bit confusing.
Exactly. I'm kind of in the same boat because like when I first saw this, I was thinking like more of like blog posts. Like for me, when I'm thinking of a portfolio, I'm thinking more of like that grid pattern that you traditionally see. So that's what I'm expecting. And then when I get here and I see this, I'm kind of like, all right, so this is different. What are they trying to communicate? What's going on here?
Right. Now, one thing I will say that, as the user explores the site, one thing that they do is, a lot of people will read first thing, and then they'll start trying to interact. So they start, rolling over these things. And the fact that you have a preview suggests that there's more inside and that they're going to be able to see what's next. And I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's,
I agree.
From a usability standard, I think that that is great. There are small things like the back to the top button that on the home page, I think it's a little bit of a wasted space. I kind of wish that it disappeared on the home page and only showed up as you clicked into some of the longer pages.
Yeah.
Somebody clicking that button and not scrolling to the top of the page is going to get a little frustrated.
Yeah.
Okay. The way that you've laid out the work is fantastic. One of the things that we see in a lot of people's portfolios is they don't tell the story of the piece, and you've done that here. So there's a lot of text for search engines to kind of like grab onto and a lot for them to sink their teeth in. So that's good.
Thank you.
All right. So, Lassiter, let's get under the hood.
All right. So before the show, I was looking underneath the hood specifically at your website, and I noticed that it's WordPress. I noticed also that it's a template, which templates are great using WordPress, because you can simply go download something, lock it in, upload it, and then customize it, kind of what you did. From my understanding and what I kind of looked at underneath the hood, these sidebars where it says selected works, and then the right side where it says all works, copyright.
Yep.
That's custom, that's cool. Also, but the problem is when you have WordPress, there's other things that kind of come along that like you don't really want. Like for example, when you go under and you look at the meta tags, you're able to essentially see what version is being going on.
Meta tags. Can you explain that real quick?
So meta tags are the first thing that a browser sees, the first thing that a search engine sees, and essentially that communicates.
Wait.
Uh-oh. Molly says wait.
Using computer. Well, that was crazy. Zoom just crashed, but I think we're back up and it's working.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
cool.
Make sure that Nicci can hear you.
This is raw. Nicci, what's up? Can you still hear us?
Is she there, Nicci?
Nicci, are you there? Hey, that's okay.
I can't really hear anything.
Oh.
Maybe some
no.
problem on your side.
All right, so here's the deal, guys. Since we're having so many technical problems, we're gonna truck on. We're gonna go ahead and critique.
Yes,
people's
I
sites?
think we lost audio.
Yeah. So we'll just truck on.
All right.
Okay.
Wait 1 second.
Okay,
Can we do
it
a
says-
quick little analysis here? Let me
No, it says it's back. It's back. Okay, we're all good. It's back.
All right. So we were talking about meta tags.
Yeah. So meta tags. Meta tags are one of the very first things that search engines and your browser will see that basically gives the clarification. So it's the initial thing that provides the framework of your website. So that's the title.
Really
That's
important.
the description. Yeah, it's super important. But also within there, in the header tag, you can have things like a generator that's run by WordPress. So that'll say the version number of your WordPress, the version of your WooCommerce. And the reason why that's a problem and the reason why you don't want that in the header, and there's actual tutorials on the internet if you want to find out how to remove these, but basically that allows hackers and security experts to basically find out what version you're using and then essentially find exploits to get into your website.
So you don't want to broadcast that
Yeah,
information.
that's something you don't want to necessarily have visible. You want it underneath the hood, but you don't want it visible underneath the hood that you can see with an inspector or other tools.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's a great tip for anybody using WordPress. You want to make sure that those version numbers don't make it into the meta tag. What else you got? Anything else on this one?
So I would say my biggest praise for Nicci is the fact that she catches all of her images, but also the fact, my critique in that also would be that her images are very large. For me, when I was loading her website, it took a little bit of time. So that's an important thing to consider, is compressing your images and making sure that they are smaller. That's the problem when you have full screen images. You're basically loading something that's going to be a couple, maybe even a megabyte.
Yeah.
You're trying to get that to be small as possible, because also within WordPress, you'll have multiple style sheets or JavaScript files that are linked to make your website work. And every single one that's referenced is a new HTTP request, which causes it to slow down.
Right.
Which eventually makes it sluggish, and also just the file sizes, it can be a big issue.
Site speed is really important for both SEO and user experience.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have all, you've been there. You've gone to a website and it just takes forever to load.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, man.
Yeah,
we
go
got
for
a
it.
little issue. There's like some
says-
music playing somewhere.
Is that website open on your computer?
Does that have music on it?
I think it's that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Mute your computers,
yeah,
please.
Lassiter, mute the.
I'm just going to
There we go.
close out that website for now.
Okay,
There we
I'm
go.
sorry, guys.
Sorry about that. Took us
Sorry,
a little while.
people.
What do we say?
We were
This is-
trying
this
to-
is
Rookies
raw,
on the
right?
show.
This is
That's
raw.
the problem, man. Too many rookies in here.
Oh, man.
Can I, while we're interrupting, can I just
Yeah.
give two shout outs?
Yeah, do
we
that.
just got two very nice donations. One $50,
Whoa.
one $30, and the $30 one was for Aaron's birthday. So
Thank you, man.
happy birthday,
Nice.
Aaron.
That's awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Man.
Who donated? I need their names.
They're right there. You can click
the
on them.
the $50 was 10%. He said, "Hey Chris, here's the 10% I promised you."
From Alex Lee.
Alex, that's
All right.
awesome.
And John, how do you say his last name?
Spell it out, Barlow.
Can't
Far
say long,
along.
but just want to say happy birthday, Aaron.
John,
Great.
Alex, thank you. Awesome. That's really cool. All right, so we were talking about site speed.
Yeah.
Site speed is really important. So if you're loading full screen images, that's awesome. Do that. But make sure that they're very small. They're compressed. There's a couple of hacks to do that. The first is just exporting them from Photoshop in a lower resolution. It's not, you're not printing these images. I would put a file size limit on every single image of like 300 kilobytes. So that JPEG medium from the Save for Web in Photoshop is what I've done for years, and it's worked really nicely. Then, if you're using WordPress, there's a great plugin called TinyPNG. And TinyPNG will go in and you can just add the plugin to your site.
Interesting.
They charge you like 0.0000001 cent per image to compress things, and it compresses it right on your server. So it literally changes the image file size.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you just hit go, it'll run through every single one, and your site will be moving much more speedy.
And that's one of my favorite things about WordPress is how you can have these different plugins that you can just install onto your website. And for people that aren't developers like me, they have easy access to these tools to make their website better.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a little bit about the aesthetics of this. I am a huge fan of what you've done here, Nicci, both just the overall content, the way it's structured. If you take a look at her about page, the way that you've used grid in your typography, it's just a beautiful site. I am a huge fan. Molly,
Yeah.
what do you think about
I
this?
am a huge fan. That's why I picked this site. I loved it from the minute I saw it because it just stands out to me. There was 100 sites that I went through.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are portfolio sites, but this one was done. It was just beautiful because it's
Nice job,
different.
Nicci.
It caught my eye, and I know she can't hear me right now. So if you want to relay this,
Yeah, Nicci, we all love the site. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so cool. Let's move on to the next one. Any questions from the audience before we dig in?
let's see.
Yeah, people like the site.
Cool, awesome. All right, so let's bring up Eliott Abrahams' site.
Okay, I'll pin him.
All right, so we've got Eliott Abraham. Initial gut reaction of the homepage as I scroll through is that I'm a little bit confused on what this is. So that's kind of indicative of somebody who jumps right into their portfolio. Is I'm a little unsure of what I'm looking at. So as far as the presentation of work, I think it can be a little bit better. The full screen version on my 13-inch, which you guys can see right now. And then let's switch over to Lassiter's computer, who has a 15-inch. You can see the different breakpoints there, where on my computer it had, full width images. Lassiter's has, on that bigger screen, he's got a 2-column layout. So the big problem with jumping right into your work is that we don't know much about you. We don't know what we're looking at. So somebody that's coming into this site from the cold is not going to know what they're looking at. So you might lose those people. And I noticed that it says Eliott Abrahams with the subtitle graphic design underneath, and I like that, but it's a little bit too subtle.
Yeah.
So
I think it should be louder.
Yeah. Gut reaction from this one.
Overall, the first thing that I noticed is the fact that in my 2 columns, that not everything was lined up properly. So essentially, one image was a shorter height than the other image, and that was the first thing that I saw. And I was like, okay, let's keep going. But also, as I looked around, I saw the graphic designer, but I was like, okay, if he's a graphic designer, like, what is he all about? Like, what's his story? Like, what's going on? Because that's usually if I'm going to someone's portfolio, I want to know what they're about.
Right.
I want to know what their specialty is. Like, he's a graphic designer. That's a very generic term. Like, are you a graphic designer that does branding? Are you a graphic designer that does UX?
Right.
Like, what type of graphic design do you do?
Yeah. So, another thing is there's this big, bold click and follow me thing right here. One thing that you want to do whenever especially if your goal is to attract leads or attract a potential employer, somebody that you want to get something from, is that you want to offer them value right off the bat.
Yeah.
And what we're doing here is the click and follow me thing. That's asking for something right off the bat.
Yeah.
So I would probably suggest let's get rid of this gray bar and restructure the homepage just a little bit. Okay, we got a little bit too deep on the gut reaction. Let's go to Zoom. Eliott, can you hear us? Can we see if you can converse?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yes. Nice. And I can see your face. Okay, guys,
Great.
good job. Now we're up and running. So let me ask you, can you first tell me about yourself? You're a graphic designer. What else?
Well, so yeah, I'm a graphic designer and I want to specialize in branding. So actually, I'm only starting to study graphic design next week at college.
Oh,
so
very cool.
all of this, it isn't even student work. It's just,
How old are
things
you?
on my own. I'm 18 years old.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
When I was 18, I definitely did not have a website. I don't even think I knew what I wanted to do with my life yet. So kudos, man.
Where's this guy
that's
from?
awesome.
Thank
Where are
you.
you from?
Thanks. I'm from Belgium, Antwerp.
Belgium, Antwerp. Nice.
Yeah.
Welcome. Is it, obviously it's like dark there, or are you in a dark room?
Yeah. It's night. It's 9 p.m.
Wow, okay. Well, thanks for joining late at night.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, cool. So tell me, what is your goal with this website?
Yeah, I just want to show people like my work and try to convince them to let me work with them.
Okay, so who are you targeting? Who do you want to be looking at this website?
I'd say like more small local businesses that would like to have some rebranding or some graphic design needs that I can help them with.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're targeting small local business. Did this website help you get into school? Was this part of your application process?
The website itself, no. Actually, no.
Okay.
I didn't use any of this.
Gotcha. So this is really for kind of that side hustle that you have going on while you're in school. You want to be able to do some brand work on the side.
Yeah, this has
Very
been
cool.
going on since I was in high school, so I'll try to continue it in college.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dig into the site. So we have a goal of, bringing people in the doors, small businesses that are, they need branding, graphic design, stuff like that. So that's the goal, and the secondary goal is just to display his work, which I think that we've accomplished that here, right? I kind of wish that the display was a little bit better. Like we talked about before, when we convert to that 2-column layout, I think what we're pursuing here is what they call a masonry layout.
Yeah.
It's that Pinterest style thing where the width of an image is the same thing. It's the same across all columns, but the height of the image varies. However, a lot of that it can be very confusing when images butt right next to each other.
Yeah.
So maybe even increasing, giving the images a white border or putting some padding around them would be a really good thing to do. All right, so let's click into About. As far as usability goes, I would say that this site is definitely usable. It's got a clear navigation at the top, so that's good. I think that we can push the hover effects and things just a little bit farther. So as you can see, in the front page, you only see the title of the project as you hover over them. And I'd say in some of these ones that you can't really distinguish, what they are right off the bat without hovering. You probably want to make sure that, they understand what they're getting into before they even hover.
Yeah. It'd be almost nice if it was a simple title card at the bottom right, bottom left saying what it actually is.
Right. Yeah. So back to the About page, we definitely need more here. So we've got 2 sentences about you. I like that you said you're a young, experienced, and innovative designer specializing in graphic design and branding. Now, I would argue a little bit that graphic design is probably not a specialty.
Okay.
I would focus on the branding aspect and then move this sentence to the homepage.
Yeah.
Because that gives me everything that I need to know about you. And if you're targeting small local businesses, there's no reason not to say that on your homepage. Plant that flag,
Yeah.
So I think we need a little bit more on the About page, or we just scrap the whole thing and just keep everything very simple.
Ben, question for you.
Go for it.
What would you add to the About page and why?
What would we add? Just more. 2 sentences doesn't cut it. If somebody really wants to learn more about Eliott, I want to know, where he went to school, what he likes to work on.
Yeah.
I would love to see a picture of him. You know what I mean? So make the About page kind of an introductory letter and a resume all in one.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
All right. So Eliott, going back to the goal, you're looking to close or bring in leads for your kind of side hustle designing for small businesses. So you're obviously going to want them to contact you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. What's your preferred method of contact?
I don't really have one, but in contact it's like mail. So the easiest one for them is to mail me.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So I see a form here. That's great. I really like the use of web forms when it comes to sites. The reason being is if somebody doesn't want to open their email program or open that next tab and crack open Gmail and then paste, it's a lot of steps that is added. And then a lot of those mail to links where you click on an email and it opens up your email client. You don't know what email client they use, so I
hate when that happens.
I never use that. Like me, I'm strictly
Gmail. It annoys me so much.
Yeah, and if you're a Gmail user and you use it in your browser, popping up a Mac Mail window, it's just going to annoy somebody, and that's the worst thing that you can do as far as usability. So one other critique on the contact page, I would also add your contact information on this page. I see that it's on the About page, which it's great. I mean, multiple calls to action on multiple pages is fantastic, but I would also add that email to the contact page.
Also, options never hurt. Like giving people the opportunity to message you on Twitter. Like I see that you have your social in the bottom right corner. It'd be nice if you made that more prominent on your About and on your contact, because a lot of people, they'll do business on Instagram, they'll do business on Twitter for a first initial contact. Like, hey, I saw this work. I think it's great. Can we talk?
Yeah.
Hey, Ben, question.
Go for it.
What do you think about putting your phone number on there? Like, give me a call anytime.
Well, it's a personal preference. Some people don't like putting their phone number because it's like their cell phone. So let me ask Eliott, do you have a business phone?
No, I don't. So that's why I don't put it up here.
Google Voice.
Is that still around?
Yeah, it's still around. You can get a free phone number. And you can basically have anyone direct a call to there, and it can forward either to your personal phone, or you can just have a voicemail box or a text box basically there. Go collect everything.
There you go. Bam. So another thing that, talking about goals, if your goal is for them to contact you, the most prominent thing on every single page is this click and follow me link. So we have to look into and compare what our goals are with what we're emphasizing on the site. Guys, what about you? Molly, what's your feedback on this one?
I like it, but the thing that turned me off from the beginning was the click here to follow me. So that stood out.
Bam.
And I was just like, because just like what you said, it's asking something of you the minute that you come to the site. So I wanted you to address that. That's what. Oops.
I don't even know where it goes after this. It goes to Instagram, to follow you on Instagram. Well, what about people that don't necessarily have Instagram? I've worked with people that don't have Instagram. I've worked with 60-year-old guys that have no social media at all, and their business has social media, but they're not going to follow somebody on social media because they care about that ratio.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a couple tweaks here and there. Honestly, Eliott, I think that with the amount of content that you have on the site, a one-page website would be plenty for you. So dividing it up into pages, it might just add steps that somebody's going to expect more than what you give them. So you want to control their expectations, and maybe converting to a one-page website would be good for you. So Eliott, let me ask you, what stopped you from kind of fleshing out the site more? Adding more stuff to it?
That's a hard question. I was I've redone it, I think 4 months ago. And I was just I have to put my work out there, but to be honest, I didn't care too much about the other stuff. It was just I need my work online. And for the rest, I was right now I have more business on Instagram, and my website is kind of secondary to whatever I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I need to put more work in it.
Okay, cool. All right, great. So let's dive under the hood.
All right. Well, you're using Squarespace, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So the Squarespace is a great platform for like entry level, like WYSIWYG type editors. Like WordPress is kind of a step up. So what you see is what you get. That's what WYSIWYG stands for. So it's a nice platform for when you're trying to just get an entry level or just simply not have to deal with everything, because WordPress, you have to have a server, you have to do the hosting. Squarespace is a great website where you can simply go sign up for an account, have a 2-week free trial, build your website during that time, and then pay, I think it's like $16 a month, and you have a website. And that is like where people can find you. So it's super helpful in that sense.
Right.
But also it's limiting in other senses where you can't really do a whole lot of development on the back end to make customization without doing some pretty heavy duty editing. And
yeah, they have that power editor in the back end that's very, very confusing. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with it, basically in a normal website, when you have like a WordPress build or you've built a static site that goes on a server and you control where those files live, Squarespace is very different. So Squarespace, you can't access your like the server level with those intro platforms, and you're forced to kind of go through their power editor, which makes it really, really difficult to tweak code.
Yeah, I agree.
So you guys suggesting something else, or what are you saying?
So me, I will always forever proclaim Jamstack. If you don't know what Jamstack is, we'll talk about it more in the show when we cover a WordPress website. But if you want to open up the link right now, jamstack.org, and you can start reading that and inform yourself. But my critique for your website as is right now, I would say go download or go install Full Story. Full Story is basically a Hotjar or Crazy Egg that basically will watch people's user interactions with your website.
Oh, creepy.
And, yeah, I mean,
it records them?
Yes, but it'll let you know what people are doing on your website, where people are breaking down, like what they're doing on your website, which is super helpful feedback for CX and UX.
We have something similar. Go ahead.
People are asking what you think of Webflow. We have 2 comments about that.
Okay, so Webflow is super hot right now, and personally, I have never looked into it. It's on my list of things to talk about. I know that in the design YouTube sphere, it's really big, and I'm pretty sure it's like a WYSIWYG editor.
I remember this thing. So probably like 3 years ago when I had my own company and I was running that, like we considered using Webflow, but there were so many bugs, and also they were behind in the development schedule. So it's a great editor in the sense that it's almost like Photoshop and kind of like using that, and like you can move things around. But when I was using it and looking at it, it was really buggy. So I don't know if things have changed in like the past like 2 or 3 years, but that's my feedback.
Yeah, I know it's talked about a lot. So I will look into it and let you guys know. All right, so anything else on the under the hood for this one?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. So Eliott, I would say let's keep tweaking. Let's push the UI a little bit more. Work on the structure of your content on the homepage, and let's maximize who you are, and let's minimize the work. I would reduce the prominence of the work on the homepage and really just kind of dig into who you are. All right.
Cool.
Let's dig into the next one.
Who's next?
Next up, we have Mio. Okay, I think it's Miodrag.
Okay.
You know what? On Zoom, Mio, how do you say your name?
You said Miodrag.
Hold on, let me pin him.
Miodrag.
And I don't think I should say my last name because it's a screw up.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
It's Karalejic, but it's hard to pronounce if you're not from Serbia.
Oh, man. Well, Laster can pronounce it. Oh, well, Mio, it's great to meet you. Really, really cool. For gut reaction on the site, I think it's kind of a cool looking thing. It's very novel, and I'm very curious when I open up the homepage. Lester?
I'm kind of biased. This is my favorite site out of all the ones that we're going to critique today.
It is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So for the development side, I would say you did a fantastic job, which we'll talk about more once we get to that.
Sorry,
segment.
I had to jump in. I didn't do the development.
You didn't?
I did the planning. And
right.
I kind of hired my friend to do the thing. I had the idea, and wanted him to do the development.
Guys, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Turn him down a bit.
I don't want to minimize anybody's achievements. If you hired the right person, that's a battle in and of itself.
Yeah.
So thanks for the disclaimer, but it's disregarded. All right.
Rude.
Yeah. Guys, out in the production room, what do you think about this?
I picked it because it was catchy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm the designer you're looking for. But for me, when I want to see, can you like click around a little bit? Because
Yeah, move around in there.
let's see. I thought it was a little too much, but that's my personal preference.
I feel like it kind of looked like a commercial, you know, like a motion
Oh.
graphics commercial.
Interesting.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, cool. So when we look at usability, we have to look at what the user expects and what kind of tools they're used to interacting with. One of the big things in the last 5 years has been the slow adaptation of the hamburger menu.
Yeah.
You guys have seen this. It's the 3 lines in the upper left-hand corner of most websites now. It's what we use to open a menu. 5 years ago, this was totally not an accepted practice. And so it confused users, and it caused a lot of headaches when it comes to usability.
And especially on desktop. Like now it's becoming more prevalent on desktop. It got its start in mobile because you had menus basically collapsing and people needed to be able to access those menus, and the hamburger came about.
Right. So when we talk about those tools, we have to understand what the user is used to using and what they're expecting. And the biggest thing about this site that I see is when it comes to navigation, all we've got is these 3 arrows. And that's something new, it's something novel, but I'm not sure that, everybody is going to know what to do here. Now, when you see a down caret like this, and you can see it right here, a lot of people are used to being able to scroll. And so I'm sitting here, I'm trying to scroll with my fingers right now, and I can't scroll down. And so that may communicate an error to somebody. So one suggestion for on the usability side is let's go ahead and add scroll functionality to the site, even if when you scroll, it scrolls down to that next card.
Yeah.
All right. So
some comments said it's a little frustrating.
Yeah. It can.
I think that's what I was feeling too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So in terms of usability, I do like that you've added previews to each arrow. So when the user hovers over the arrow, you see what you're going to get.
Yeah.
My concern there is they're not going to know about that until they hover.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that every single action is preceded by a warning. So it's like, hey, if you hover over this, you'll get this. If you click on this, you're going to go here. So I like that you have the hover effect there, but I'm worried that people aren't going to hover.
I have a question. I
Go
just
for
read
it.
a comment here that it's like you don't know where to go on that site. Like
Yeah.
I'm at the homepage and I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Do you want people to like have a specific route that you want them to take when they come to your website, or do you want them to kind of explore it?
That's a great segue into the goals section. So let's talk to Mio. Mio, what's your goal with this website?
I kind of wanted to give the people who come to the website a unique experience. So my initial goal here is not for them to contact me or something. Of course it is, but I want to give them a feeling that when they hire me, they're not getting a same thing that they would get from someone.
So
that they would hire.
If your goal is to communicate kind of off the wall thinking, and you hire me and I'm out of the box, I think you've accomplished that one.
Yeah.
I think that you have accomplished that one. So let me ask you, who are you targeting with this?
I'd say I'm targeting people who are not looking for ordinary things. And mainly, if I should say it like that, I'm targeting gaming companies or something like that. I'm really into esports.
Gotcha.
And that's the way I grew up, and I want to work around it,
Okay, cool. So one of the things that I noticed about the portfolio is that when we click into each thing, it opens a new window, and we load Behance. And I love Behance and Dribbble for portfolios. Love it. When you have a portfolio on your site that you're actually leading the user away from the site and towards Behance, you can actually lose people in that transition. So
sorry, can I jump in?
Yeah, go for it.
That's initially what I wanted to do because if I put like every single work of mine on the website, it would be a little tough for the developer to fit all the sizes and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So what I wanted, I want them to go directly on the Behance or the Dribbble, and then I want them to explore it, because I have a lot of projects there, and they would see it, like I have a value there. I have a decent amount of project views. I was even featured on the graphics, like how it's called, the gallery.
Great. Congrats, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's like my initial goal, to show them the value that they're getting.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's a little bit deeper than throwing somebody on Behance. You want that proof that you've generated on Behance, that social proof from the likes, and you want that user to see that.
There's a comment here saying that.
Yeah.
Oops, I just lost it. Saying that when it goes to his work, the background distracts them. So I don't know if there's a way to.
So Mio, when it goes to the comment from the people, said if the background is a little bit distracting when it goes to the work, I can understand that. I think what he's trying to do is just be that off the wall guy, and he's communicating that correctly. From a usability standpoint, from an information and content standpoint, I love the fact that you have your services listed here. I would encourage you to consider maybe reducing these by 1 or 2, or digging deeper into a single thing, where you've got web design, UI, UX design, branding, and illustration. It looks like you're trying to be a little bit too much. So for this, if you're really trying to attract those gamers and those gaming companies, let's get into UI design, because there's a lot of different types of UI design.
Yeah.
Game UI, what is it, HUD design, heads-up display.
Heads up, yeah.
There's tons of stuff that we can put here in the same layout that you have, that's just a little bit more concise, more targeted.
Show people what you've done and focus in on that, like in your services. That would be my best suggestion. And also, it'd be cool do we want to transition into under the hood? Like make this a segue? All right. Yeah. So in your services page, I think one of the coolest things is the fact that you use path SVGs. And what that is, if you want to look at my screen, whenever you go to the actual page, you'll notice how these are all moving. So what's great about SVG paths is that since it's all styled in CSS, essentially what's going on is you're not loading any images, you're not moving any images, but rather you're creating all of these files that are moving on the page. So everything's loading in your browser.
So basically what we're looking at here is the actual movement of both the items on the page and the subtle movement inside the actual icon.
Yes.
So you're saying that we don't have any kind of like motion files. Everything's constructed with code.
Yeah. So let's dive right into that so I can show you guys exactly kind of what I'm talking about. We're not going to go super deep, but I want to give you guys context of what we're talking about. So these are path files. And essentially what this is saying is it's going in a direction and that this is filled with a particular color. So that's the cool thing about path files, is you're not having to deal with that. And one thing that I would give as a critique also on your website is we've talked about this gradient. You actually don't need to have this gradient as an image, which currently is an image. There's a cool class called CSS gradient, which you're able to have any type of color. You can have any kind of range, and that eliminates the file loading size. And that just makes your site even faster. So that would be one of my biggest suggestions.
Okay, cool. So in one instance, he's saving a lot of files, size and page bloat, and which affects user experience and SEO by using these SVG stuff. And then we have a background image that's a gradient.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a small tweak. Go for it.
Other suggestions is within anyone's website, something that you can do is minify your CSS, your JS.
What does minify mean?
So let's break that down. So when you look at a typical file, you have it kind of laid out in a nice style, which props to your developer, like something that's actually readable. And what minifying does is it turns everything into one line. So instead of having a break and it's loading each thing, the processing, so when everything is compiled down to machine code, which is ones and zeros, and then recompiled up, and during that process, it's not having to essentially go and break next line.
Okay, so let me translate that.
Yeah.
So we've got two options: the full version and then the minified version.
Yeah.
The full version has multiple lines of code.
Yeah.
And then minified, it's all the same code just on one line.
Yeah.
So humans have a hard time reading it, but computers like it, and it
Yeah.
saves time, space, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So you're saying, you'd suggest minifying the code that he's got.
Yeah, because no one's going to be reading this code except for people like me, and people like me are able to essentially just go in and we can do things inside the browser that will unminify it.
Right. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Cool.
So overall, aesthetics, I initially, like, my kind of gut reaction was like, this is unique. This is interesting. And then I kind of wondered if we're being a little bit too frivolous with this stuff. And I wasn't sure. And I'm still kind of on the fence. I'd say that there's, with the amount of development and the amount of thought that went into the custom navigation, I think that the styling of the elements could be a little bit better.
Yeah.
The use of space, he's filled the screen on his homepage. And we've got this kind of like cool effect where the text always faces the mouse.
Yeah.
The cursor as we roll through the site. But I'm wondering what the purpose is of that.
Yeah, I was thinking that. It seems it's a little gimmicky. Maybe it's a little like what's the word? I don't want to say cheesy, but I don't have a good vocabulary.
And I get, like, you want to flex those development skills. You want to flex, like, I can do this. But at the same time, it's like for every action, there has to be a reason. Like, what are we communicating to the user? And that is not inherently clear to me.
Exactly. I mean, like, you have a point of sophistication in this development, but at what point is it a distraction? Where basically you have this, and also an interesting thing, I'm on a 15-inch and you are on a 13-inch. If you look at the arrows, there's actually space in between mine. So it'd be interesting to find out why it doesn't necessarily scale down. Like, you can use like M tags and rim tags, which basically will scale things varied based on like the size of the browser,
so
making
you're saying,
it responsive.
Looking at it on a 15-inch screen, I'm seeing that, guys. If you can pull Lasseter's screen up and then directly compare it to my 13-inch screen, it's a very, very different layout and aesthetic, where mine's kind of cluttered. So you're saying continue to flex those development skills and scale the text down according to browser size.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. What do the people say about this? Anything?
Well, give us a second here.
Some people are saying, like, a question I pulled up, if he's a web designer, shouldn't he be able to have the same Behance format on his website rather than moving to a different website? Another way to demonstrate your design web work.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar. Like, these days, Ben, I mean, you hire people, right? Designers and stuff. I mean, if they have a website, do you need a website? Can't you just use your Instagram or your Behance? Because then you don't have to worry about, it's more than just the work, right? The important part to you as a hiring person is the work. Is it good? Is it what I need for my job? You don't really care about the design of how it flows or whatever. Like, just keep it real simple, right?
Okay, so the question is can we just use our Behance profile as our portfolio? And the answer is yes. Why not?
Yeah.
However, in my mind, and this is personal preference, but I see having a website as a professional medal. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, yes, I have a website and it's a custom domain, and I have email that routes to that custom domain. So it's kind of like a symbol of hitting a certain level of professionalism to me. That's how I feel.
I also see it as an asset because it's essentially a table of contents. You have your website, which then links out to your Behance, your Dribbble, your Instagram, your Twitter, So you don't necessarily go to someone and say, hey,
Whoa.
I mean, like, my Twitter is at such and such, my Instagram is at such and such, and like they have to go through and go to each and every one, but rather you can just say, hey, my website is such and such, and then you can go to that and you can find me on Dribbble, Twitter, etc.
Right. Yeah, it's a menu. It's a, like you said, table of contents, and I like that. The weird part is when we get into not having work on the website and directing everything to Behance. Now, Mio has a very good reason for that, because he's been really successful on Behance, and the work is great, and he wants people to see everybody else's reaction, and that will help somebody like me when I'm looking for a resource, a designer, a developer, or something like that. If millions of people liked this guy's work, that's going to shine a positive light on him, because it's not just me that likes the work. Does that make sense?
Social proof always sells.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Next up, we have, I'm gonna butcher this. Craig, can you tell me the name of this company? Is it Injozi?
Do you want me to scroll through this?
That's right.
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, so Craig, is it Injozi?
Yes, that's right.
Right on. How are you? Can we pin Craig?
I'm very well, thanks.
I'm gonna pin him right now. Pin video.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name's Craig. I'm a design director at a company called Injozi, and we're based in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Very cool.
And Josi's a sort of slang for Johannesburg.
Oh, okay. So Injozi, I get it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. So initial gut reactions, I was like, whoa. I was like, this is cool. Somebody threw some money at this one. So Molly, can you share your screen and play, scroll through the website with the audio?
Yes, I will. Hold
you guys are
on.
going to love this.
Let me just exit out of this. For some reason, when I post his site to YouTube chat, it won't work, but...
That's okay. Let's just go ahead and scroll through it.
So here's his site. Click to my site.
I mean, this is like...
There's something to be said for good work. Wholesome work. Work that maintains a certain boldness in the face of standards. Work that isn't afraid to look for the beauty in strange places. Work that strives to go off-center when all that's in front of it is a straight line. This is what we do. Good work for good people. We are Injozi.
Okay, that is super, super neat. My initial gut reaction to that, however, was I don't get it. I just didn't. And I'll tell you why, because my computer was muted. So I had no explanation. I was missing such a vital, piece of that puzzle that I was just like, I was scrolling through and I was like, good work, wholesome, beauty, straight. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, people are saying that when you got the sound and that's like part of it, people don't like that. Like, I don't want to have to listen to your thing.
Well, you have both. Someone's like, I shed a tear, or someone's like, this is a lot of fluff. Awesome, it's awesome. Make audio. Yeah. So there's like a mixed reaction. It's very mixed.
So that was my personal reaction. What about you?
For me, I was listening to Spotify when I actually pulled up this video, so it was very annoying that I wasn't able to listen to Wu-Tang Clan while I was watching this. So for me, like, I'm going through and, like, I think it's cool in a sense that you are able to scroll through, but also, me, I like to just scroll. I don't like the kind of title card where it goes and scrolls down to the next ID tag, then the next ID tag, having those full frames.
We're gonna talk about that. Yeah, absolutely. Craig, let me ask you. So you guys are a design company. How many employees do you have? What's your team size?
We've got 18 staff.
Wow, congratulations.
Nice.
Are you what role do you play?
I'm the design director. I've been there for going on 10 years now.
Congrats, man.
Nice.
Let me tell
Thank
you,
you.
first off, I just want to compliment you on the site. I think it's gorgeous, and the execution of this is just fantastic. So before we get into any kind of critique and any kind of deep review, overall, I can see that a lot of effort was put into this. So nice job.
The presentation is excellent.
Thank you.
It just has to hit the people at the perfect time to not go in any other direction other than being well received.
So let me ask you, what's the goal with this site? What are you guys trying to accomplish?
Well, besides the obvious goal of trying to generate leads, we thought we'd use the website as a showpiece, a showcase of kind of what we can do, our abilities.
So kind of like a capabilities piece. All right,
Yeah.
cool. And then can you tell me the story of how this concept came about? Because this is very unique.
Well, Johannesburg and South Africa in particular is known for its gold and diamonds. So as a company, we wanted to kind of portray ourselves as being a diamond in the rough, or the gold
Nice.
in the city.
I see. Okay. And then when you were going through execution, did you consider the audio piece of that puzzle? Because that's what we're gonna dwell a lot on that today. Can you explain the thought process behind including such an in-depth audio experience?
We actually had some copy. One of our copywriters wrote some really nice copy, and we've got an audio studio next door to us. They're our sister company, so we just thought it would be really cool. We had a professional voiceover artist in on the day, and we just asked him to do a read on the day. I'm not sure if audio on the site is the best idea, but we threw everything at it and see how it goes.
Gotcha. All right, so I see here it's copyright 2016, so it's been up for a minute. Is it working?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's doing pretty well. We're getting about 150 hits a week, which is not bad for a small little company in South Africa.
Great. And as far as generating leads, how's it going there? When you say 150 hits, is it visits or conversions?
No, it's not conversions. We get most of our work from the advertising industry. And we get all our leads from them basically. But we're trying to get new leads from
direct
standalone companies.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a question, Ben.
Yeah, go for it. Aaron's got a question.
I'm seeing some comments here, and I'm just trying to absorb it. And now here's the question. So, could you ask this guy why he wanted to submit his site? Why did he submit his site?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, Craig, they want to know why you submitted the site.
I've just been a big fan of the Futur, and I was just checking out the page, and I saw a request for submission, so I just took a chance.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Because this has been a joy to go through, and there's so much to talk about here. You should be proud. All right, so let's dig in.
And everyone, please comment what you think of the site if you have anything.
Yeah,
I'll read them off if they're good.
Yeah,
I'm always looking. So.
All right, so basically, when the site loads, let's go to my screen. When the site loads, there's a preloader, and the danger here is the preloader. It's good to show system status, and that's actually one of the heuristics in the list that we didn't talk about, showing system status. And so we're talking about what the site is doing. It's communicating, hey, user, it's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I've got you. I'm loading.
It's loading.
You
It's
know?
coming.
It's coming. Hold on, just one
wait.
more second. So that's cool that there's a preloader. I kind of wish that there wasn't a preloader, but as I get into the site, the amount of content, the size of the animations and the audio and all that kind of stuff, I totally understand why there's a preloader. So.
Oh, I have an interesting.
Yeah.
So someone's saying, I wonder if you can condense those five slides into one, like a video in the beginning instead of
Interesting.
And then someone else said, what's more important, a gorgeous website or strong in the strong portfolio. Sometimes the website's awesome, but the portfolio is weak, vice versa.
Yeah, so we see a lot of that when it comes to like theme websites. So when a user, a designer will go out and they'll buy an exquisite WordPress theme.
Yeah.
And the website is beautiful, but then the work is not as good as the actual website. That is, to me, in my mind, the biggest indicator of a themed website is the comparison between the UI and the actual work. I would say you have to have both, and I would recommend always that you strive for the best that you can do. So if the website ends up being stronger than the work, great. Now it's your turn to work on the work.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Hopefully that answered the question for you. All right, so let's talk some more about this. I really like that concept of taking all the slides and making a video out of it that gives the user control.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, because someone said for someone who's used to the site, it would make it so they can just quickly skip, like pause the video and go straight to what they want on your website. Now,
I'm assuming, and Craig, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys wanted to like kind of stand out with the experience. This was more of like, you wanted to flex those muscles again. You wanted to show off a little bit.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I totally understand the thought process behind it. One of the things that we talked about earlier with those lists of heuristics is the perception of control and the flexibility and the freedom of the user. And so what we have here is a very deep and rich experience, but it's also restrictive. So the sound plays automatically. Now, we did give them a way out, which is great. So up here in this right-hand corner, we've got a mute button. But one thing that I found when I was reviewing it is muting reset itself after about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's probably that's probably an error, which could be easily fixed. But that's definitely something that I noticed is, that perception of control wasn't as complete as it could be.
Yeah, Ben. Sorry, you have more
go.
things. No, like the reason I asked you to ask him like why did he submit his site is because I kind of just wanted to know if like is he looking for some kind of feedback? Is there some kind of problem he's like trying to solve? Because like I feel like the video, I mean, like from his explanation, he just made the video because he could and it seemed fun, so he did it. But like in terms of, I don't know, a goal of trying to get work or something like that, I feel like I'm reading comments here and most people are like, I don't want to have to listen to your video or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the video's no good, man. It's no good, the video. Just
so
let me see the work.
you're anti-video.
Anti-video,
So-
anti-sound. I don't want to have to watch your thing. I mean,
Damn.
that's how I feel.
Ouch.
Sorry.
All right,
Hard.
Craig, I'm sorry. Aaron was like,
Hard
I don't
audience.
like the video. I don't want to deal with it. Just cut it. I'm like, if it works for your users, then great. What's concerning to me is that, you're getting 150 hits per week, but none of those are converting into leads. So there may be something there. Maybe we can tweak this to say, would you like the full experience, which would load this page, or would you like to move on to a separate second? Maybe something like a interstitial when the site loads that's like, welcome. What would you like to do?
See, this website reminds me more in the initial presentation page of a conference that I went to called Story. And basically on their website, as you scrolled through and as you went through like their homepage, it told the story of like how the conference went about, what the theme of the conference is about. So I get like what they're trying to do, but it's also, is it appropriate in this particular industry and in this context where you're trying to sell something rather than providing an asset to sell an experience, which maybe they are trying to sell the experience of working with their agency, but is it like how it is being shown and presented?
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed kind of in that communication sphere is I didn't get the gold and diamonds thing until he explained it. So, and maybe that's just me being, a bearded white dude in America.
Yeah.
That I didn't know that South Africa was known for gold and diamonds and things like that. And so what I'm looking at here is, it's beautiful, and I was like blown away by the graphics and the aesthetics of it, but I didn't get the story out of it, and that gold, the diamond piece of that puzzle is very important.
Yeah.
So, in this circumstance, I find myself as the lowest common denominator here. And you have to design and build your websites towards that person who's going to be the lowest common denominator. So you got to think of a dumb, big, bearded white dude from Michigan when you design this website, especially if you're looking to pull in more advertising work from the States. So that story, I mean, I would say lean on that. Tweak the verbiage and the maybe even the audio to reflect why you use these visuals. All right, so let's dig into the interior of the site. So we click the menu and it loads. One comment that I had here in terms of usability is you have the lowest common denominator, but then you also have super users.
Yeah.
And super users are people who they know their machines very well. These are guys that like build their machines from the ground up, and they're very quick when they navigate websites.
I would like to say, not until just now when you mentioned that they have a menu, I did not know that was there.
Oh.
So I never
wow.
even saw that. Like for me, I was distracted by everything else. And like for me, I was thinking that I have to scroll through like 6 tiles to get all the way to the bottom, and that's like the only place where the menu is occurring.
I think the lowest common denominator hat just went to Lassiter.
Wait,
You are-
Lassiter,
the music's
Lassiter,
back.
is your
Turn the music
sound
off.
on right now?
Oh,
I'm gonna come in there.
Turn
There
the
we
music
go.
off.
there you go. Just mute it. All
Alright,
right.
is
Okay.
this gonna keep happening, or should we? Can we fix
It's gonna
it?
keep happening, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna keep. It's
Alright.
all day long.
No.
All day.
No.
All right, so let's load this menu again. So when we're catering to both lowest common denominator and super users, when somebody clicks on this menu, if they already know where they want to go, this load time can be a little bit prohibitive. So we're looking at maybe half of a second here.
Yeah.
Which for those things to kind of zoom in, I would want to speed that up or
Yeah.
just have them move in with the menu because they can get stuck right here.
Okay, I think
Wait,
it's not muted yet.
Is,
so if
is
we
that
could
on
just
your
go ahead
computer,
and-
Ben?
It's Ben's computer.
Go ahead and mute that.
Oh dear Lord.
Oh my God.
Yeah, let's. So once
Sorry,
again, I'd like
people.
to point out one thing, that this whole audio on the videos thing is screwing
Yeah.
everything up. Let's not do that, man.
And the other comment that people are asking is this site on mobile, or can you do that? I never checked it out. Like, is it as
That's not a
impactful?
good. We're moving. on.
I'm
Okay.
sure it is. We can check that in a second.
Okay.
So when we load the work page, this is where we get into the proof. Whenever somebody wants to hire a design agency or a designer, the work page it's more about, can you do what I need you to do?
Yeah.
Right? So somebody that's looking for something is going to come to this page and expect to see or hope to see what they want to reflect. And as this page loads, you can see if you go to my screen, everything is very black.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling to see, if I were a user, which one should I click on? So let's start hovering over them. And I still don't get a preview.
And also, when I opened one of those, it took 30 seconds for it to load, and I was like, kind of just sitting there, like, what's going on? Like, what?
Okay, so I
Yeah.
clicked on one. I clicked on Motherland Coffee Company. So we're loaded. It took I don't know, maybe 3-4 seconds, but even that can be a little bit slow. Again, we've got these pretty big images, which Lester, I'm sure you can dig in on. Here's what I like about the way that they've structured the information on these internal pages is everything is right there when it loads. It's very clear. There's a project overview, there's deliverables, and then they're demonstrating it with a nice photo of the work. So you get the snapshot of what the project was and what it was about right there. I just wish that I could have, chose which one that I wanted to see by the visual. So that's my only critique of the work section. As far as everything else, the information is structured very nicely. Where'd it go?
Because it is also difficult to be able to tell what something is, because like as this is loading, I see that one's called 16:2, one's called like ride to. So I don't really know what that means. Like, is that a company? Is that like an action? Like who is that? Like what type of project is this?
Yep. Definitely. So let's switch back to my screen, and you can see here what they've done is they're using angled lines in their layout. And I'm going to refresh this page because I want to show you guys one thing. All right, so as we load the page, you can see it takes a minute, and I'm having to like kind of fill the dead air there. But let's scroll down. Oh, that page already, that screen already loaded. The first time that image loaded here at the top, it loaded from the top down, and I think it's because it's a transparent PNG.
Yeah.
Now, transparency, that alpha channel in the PNG adds significant file size. So I would absolutely recommend condensing these with a tiny PNG on the site, making sure that, you know, it's really worth using that alpha channel in the PNG itself. So that's one thing that I noticed, is that we had a couple of images load a little bit slowly.
Someone's also saying that the homepage is a completely different look from the look and feel of the entire site, and then just wanted to call that out.
I'm gonna go on the defense on that one. The work page matches the home page. I think that it's a really good example of the actual home page. When we click into these individual case studies and projects, the case study page is designed like the brand it represents.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
I like it.
I think that we're still using the same typography, but the colors, the backgrounds, it's all reflective of the brand.
Yeah.
And if you notice on a lot of portfolios, it's like, you know, they have their personal brand that's forced on a couple of other brands.
Yeah.
So if you have this like very, very, let's say it's a masculine branded designer, you know, maybe like a bearded hipster dude.
Yeah.
Who is
like
showing, maybe, who is showing work in the beauty industry. And you've kind of forced your brand into the case studies.
Yeah.
And it's just like the contrast there is a little bit jarring. So I really like the way that they've done this. The case studies match the brand, and so you know, everything's very consistent. All right.
Cool.
You ready to get under the hood?
No.
I am.
There's like, no, God.
The people online are saying no under the hood.
There's a lot here, but we'll just cover like the surface level.
Brief.
Okay.
Like sum it up.
The main thing that I saw, like you guys are talking about how you're trying to get leads and you're trying to get out there. You guys don't even have a set meta tag for your description. It kind of just loads whatever the first text is on your page. So that's like an easy fix that you can do to be able to have it to where when someone searches on Google, that is what they will see, instead of just simply having whatever the first text is in your page, which isn't necessarily what you're going to present first, if that makes sense.
There it is.
Yeah.
And okay, so let me ask you guys, Molly, are the internets upset? Are they revolting against the under the hood segment of this
I think
critique?
they're just taking
It's just me, dude. I'm an ass.
No, there's some people that are saying boring, but
it is boring. It is boring to designers. I get it. But guys, this is important, because those same people that
meta tags are important.
The same people that are saying, oh, this section is boring, are the same people that are going to come to us afterwards and say, why can't my website generate any leads? And meta tags have a big piece of that puzzle. You have to be available to search, you know? So I'd challenge you guys to pay attention, to rewatch this, and to compare your under the hood and make sure that you're using these elements.
People are saying, no, I like under the hood. Under the hood is awesome. It's totally necessary. Okay,
Good.
We got some defense.
All right, awesome. So as far as the contact page goes, if you go to my screen, I think it's nicely laid out. I love the typography here. The contrast is awesome. The way that you guys have used the grid throughout the site is beautiful. I'd say the aesthetics overall is just, that's what blew me away. Can't say enough there. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing a form on this page.
Yeah, it's not there.
It's not there. So that just kind of adds steps. If somebody wants to work with you and they click this, it's going to open up a new program, and they may not want that, especially Gmail users, which is pretty much everybody these days, unless you're on Hotmail, which you need to upgrade.
Yeah.
But I would suggest kind of adding a form here, and then also, emphasizing that goal of contacting and the lead generation part to your homepage. Last little usability tip, I don't know how to get back to your homepage. So that could be an issue, especially if somebody's really excited about it and they want to show their coworker. it's going to be kind of difficult. They'll have to like go up here and
They have to
remove that.
finagle.
Yeah. So I think a little smoothing here and there, maybe allowing the users a little bit more freedom to navigate the site that like they want to. I think condensing these slides into a video is a very powerful thing to do, and it would allow you to still have the same experience for those who want it, but also relieve those people like Aaron who may not want that. Okay, guys.
Thank
I
you.
think that's it. I think that we're going to close this at that point.
What? Wait, what do you mean?
We have 2 left.
Let's
but
do
it is-
one. Let's do Joseph because he came. He's
Oh,
very-
Joseph is here.
Yeah, he's here. So.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll just
So Joseph is
last one.
DC Design Dublin. Okay, gotcha. All right. So initial reaction, the yellow is awesome.
Wait,
It's
that's not Joseph. It's Techie Design.
Oh. See, Molly?
There it
you
is.
go.
There it is.
All right. My gut reaction to this is I was a little concerned about the aesthetics, to be honest. And as I scrolled down, there's a lot going on. It was almost overwhelming. The header was so huge, and then we have this massive blue menu that pops up. It just seems like I was just kind of concerned about the aesthetics. However, I do like that we actually have content on the homepage. So I was really drawn to that. Laster?
My
Gut
initial
reaction.
experience, if you go to my page,
Uh-oh.
I got an error.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Sorry, we're issue with...
The video in the background did not play.
Oh, no. That's another thing for my 2-year-old. She goes,
Yeah.
oh, no. All right, so Joseph, this was you. Can we pull him up? Can we pin him to the screen?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey,
Hey.
what's up, Joseph?
Hey guys, I love you guys. Just so you know.
Oh, we love you too.
Yeah.
Thanks
I
for
bought a bunch
tuning
of
in.
Stuff and it's making me a ton of money.
Nice.
Wait, what was that? Say it
Project
again.
Proposal. Man, that thing is golden. If any of you are listening to this, buy that thing.
Oh, the proposal kit? Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
appreciate that.
A
Double your
testimonial.
prices. Even if your website videos don't load, like you'll still get the stuff.
Hey guys, can we turn Joseph up a little bit in our headphones? So, dude, first of all, nice beard. Much respect there.
I grew it after I started watching the
Oh,
Future.
wow.
Yes! Dude. Yes, that's awesome. All right, cool. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Joseph, what are you?
I am in San Diego, on the better part of Southern California.
Nice, man.
Hey, I
San
don't like
Diego. So you guys are a design company, right?
Yeah, it's that typical thing you see time and time again where we literally push out like, maybe 3 or 4 sites a month, and we go through like a longer process now, so it's hard to do your own site. It's like that curse that web designers and stuff are.
Oh, preach, man. Yeah, I'm right there with you. As a matter of fact, MrBenBurns.com has a maintenance page on it right now. So I am totally right there with you.
I mean, it's no excuse, but I feel that hearing somebody, give me a hard time about some stuff would help us get on track a little bit more. Like, I'll fix the video. I know that it does that.
Gotcha.
I hoped it wouldn't have happened right on the stream, but
Hey, it's all good. It happens. So let me ask you, what's the goal for the site? What do you want it to do for you?
Well, I mean, I get leads mostly through referrals, which is part of why it's been difficult to keep the site. So what I really want is I want something where I can just maybe post a blog every like once or twice a month, and it'll have like some contact information. It'll give you a really quick snapshot of who I am, like
More
I
of like a
work lot.
passive web presence that's just there, almost for proof that you exist, kind of thing.
I get probably like 1,000 views a month because of my blog content, but that's not a ton.
Yeah.
But it's more, the bulk of my business comes from referrals. So I want it to be like solid. Like when you look at it, it's like, yeah, these guys are legit. And I'm working on it right now, which is why I thought it was a great opportunity to kind of see what direction you guys think I should go.
Very cool. All right, nice. So basically, we want the thing to be kind of a passive presence, a platform for your blog content that's drawing in people, and then the secondary goal is to convert them into leads, where we're talking about contacting and all that jazz, kind of like everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's not honestly so much lead generation. I look at it more like the people who are already hearing about me. They go there usually before talking to me. So I just want to more like close on them. You know what I mean?
I see. Okay, so they're already identified as leads.
That would be the majority of the
for the website to basically they go there when you say, "Hey, look, we got proof."
Or they'll just Google like Techie design or Google my name and it'll pop up and whatever.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's get into this. So first thing, does it meet the goal? I don't know. I'm a little bit torn because if the goal is to be that kind of proof and to have this passive web presence, we have to go pretty far down. Oh no, it's not even on the homepage. Sorry. We actually have to click here to get into the blog posts. So
yeah, well the blog is more entrance. Like people come in through the blog a lot of times.
Gotcha. Okay. Still, somebody that searches for Techie blog or your name is going to hit the homepage. So one thing that could be handy on that is to add your most recent posts to the actual homepage. I'm assuming this is a WordPress site?
It is.
I'm a WordPress dev. That's my specialty.
There you go. So, I mean, that stuff is really simple to do, to add those recent posts to this. So let's go ahead and add that to the homepage.
Okay.
In terms of the information, I like that what you've written here. Techie Design is a digitally based independent marketing and identity agency based in San Diego, California. I think that snippet right there tells the people exactly what they want to know. The phrase afterwards, where it says, "We elevate superior products and services, inspiring action and loyalty." I think we got a little bit of grammar to tweak there, because I'm not sure, what inspiring action and loyalty is describing. So I would say let's cut that piece and focus on the initial sentence. I think that's a strong sentence. I think that it communicates exactly what we need to. Let me ask you, Joseph, who are you targeting here? Who do you want to be on the site?
Well, right now, my clients are kind of all over the place. I do like law firms, done a lot of food-related stuff. My origin, as far as like culturally, is I'm kind of from like surf industry, which is why which is why I like all those waves and stuff, in the beginning. I'm from Hawaii originally, even though I live in San Diego, so that's that's kind of where I'm coming from. But yeah, I don't really know. I'm more just trying to, figure it out. I've been getting a lot more business recently, and it's all over the place. Like right now, the proposal that I made from your packet, I made it for a marijuana, like a cannabis company. So it's just like.
So it's kind of all over the place. All right, so this is one thing when we discuss user experience, we must have a user in mind. So even if your current work is all over the place, even if you like working with a variety of different companies, the best way to pull in leads that you want to work with, especially, is to target the website towards a specific person. Right?
Yeah.
So if your history is in the surf industry, if you've drawn a lot from that, you're from Hawaii, that's awesome, man. There's tons of marketing managers and small business owners out there that like those water action sports. So planting that positioning flag and saying, hey, look, I'd like to work with X, Y, and Z companies that surf, that all that kind of stuff. I'm not familiar with that world, which is why I'm a little bit struggling right now. But Aaron, I'm going to ask you. Aaron is a surfer. Does this website say surfing to you?
No.
Aaron's not here, man.
So show me the site again.
Let's take a look.
Does this say surfer?
Does this say surfer to you?
Well, there's a giant wave.
Okay.
That would tell me it's surfing.
What else?
Let's see. Stop here. I don't know. Maybe these brands feel like they could be surf action sport brands, but I don't know. That Steal and Escape with that kind of distressed look reversed out. The one with the fish or the shark, whatever that is. But let's keep going.
Okay.
You know, now it could use a lot more in terms of tuning it to reflect the culture. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of visual cues to let you know what it's about.
Right, and that's what we need to kind of focus on is if that's the industry that you want to be in and that's the industry that you're really comfortable with, let's embrace that. You know, I mean, there's plenty of money in that industry. Let's see if we can plant our flag there and kind of execute on that. So let's talk about usability. We have a menu up here in the upper right-hand corner. It's a standard thing that users are used to. So I don't see any usability issues there. I like that you have a slight hover effect on that. That indicates that you're getting feedback and response from the system. That the system is actually responding to what you're doing. When we click on the different page, something that I noticed is that we're lacking a little bit of consistency in some of the visual elements. So if you can see the difference between the header on the home page, especially in the typography, and then when we click to the projects page, it's wildly different. This is smaller. It's just a completely different look and feel.
Yeah, some people were saying they felt like this website's yelling at them with all the type, all in caps. So that's
especially
something
when
to
we
take
get to like the blog page.
Yeah.
So we definitely want those pieces to be very consistent throughout. And they don't all have to be the same. That's not what I'm saying is if an interior page has a specific header and it's different than the homepage header, let's establish that. But as you can see, the two pages, the projects page and the blog page, have two very different headers between each other. So Molly, let me ask you, why did you pick this page?
I wanted to get your input on it and how you can give him more advice to make it better.
Gotcha. Okay, so this kind of stood out. What if you were in the hot seat? What advice would you give Joseph?
Nice.
I would say I thought more consistency with the type, and to me, I also agree with the point of it yelling at you. It just feels very big, and I want it to be finessed a little more.
Right.
That's my take on it.
Gotcha. Joseph, let me ask you, are you a developer or a designer?
It depends on who I'm talking to. Like if I was talking to you, Ben, I would tell you I'm a developer. But if I was like in the back with a bunch of guys in cargo pants who bring their own keyboard to work, I would tell them I'm a designer. I'm a front-end web developer. So like in between. Okay.
So if 1 was you're a designer and then 10 was you're a developer, where do you lean? Where are your skills strongest?
6.5 on the developer side.
Gotcha.
Wait, so is that 10 is the designer, so that'd be like 3.5, something like that?
Okay. So what I would recommend is, if you're a developer, let's embrace that. I would pull on somebody that can help you take the aesthetics of the site to the next level. Because I think that like embracing the surf theme, embracing consistency throughout with the aesthetics. If you pulled on somebody like an 8 or a 9 on the design side, and they were able to give you advice and maybe actually help you design the site, I think that would be a big step up. All right, let's click into a project real quick. So one thing I'm noticing is that even though I've clicked through the site and loaded every single page, it still takes time to load, which means there's some kind of issues there with caching. I'm wondering what's going on there and why the page speed is so slow.
It's the animations. They load as you scroll.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to click into one of the projects here. Whoops. Okay. So what I've discovered is that the image, this Janie Makes Play and the Atlas Clean Energy, you actually can't click into it. And when you're on a small screen and you're scrolling through, you're like, okay, so web design and development, and we get down to the bottom here, and we literally can't click on anything on the screen that would take us to either one of these projects. So making those calls to action, the buttons, next steps readily available at any point in the scroll is really, really important. Simple fix.
Wait a second.
Oh.
What was that?
It just logged out and logged back in.
Woo!
All right.
We're still good?
Yeah.
Raw! This is raw.
From the future.
I don't know why I keep...
It's okay.
All right,
Carry on.
Let's go. We got more buttons down here, and my biggest question here is when we start to word calls to actions, we need to give the user a little preview or help them set their expectation for what's next, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my big question here is, what does more do? Is it more about Atlas Clean Energy? Is it more projects like it?
Yeah.
What is that? So that's the big question that's going to be answered here. And you notice when we load this, it just kind of cracks open a testimonial.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I believe the weird thing for me is I'm so used to seeing projects and portfolio pages have their own case studies on the actual page, while this is really just a testimonial and it links to the company.
Right.
And I'm not sure, like, so what part of development, what part of design did you take part in? Like, were you strictly a developer? Were you strictly a designer?
We need more.
Yeah, I definitely need to work on this, but for the ones that under web design and development, I did web design and development.
Okay.
And for the ones under consulting, I was just a consultant.
Gotcha. Where I get kind of hung up is that I don't see any web design or development on the page.
Yeah, it's not there. I'm working on that though. It's coming.
Okay. And I mean, simply adding like a portfolio system, there's tons of plugins out there that can help you do it. There's tons of different ways to approach it. But when I come here for proof, like you said, you're talking to these people on the phone, they met you, and then they're going to look you up later. When I arrive here for proof, there's no proof. There's no proof of work. I can't see any examples. It's not giving me a clear picture of what it is that you do. So I think that is probably priority in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to the URL, but yeah, like if you mouse over it, I guess that's not that clear.
Right. Yeah. And the reason is if you look at the two pieces of typography next to each other, we have Atlas Clean Energy and then AC Energy. There's
It's
no
identical.
distinction other than size that's an actual link.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to give that user a heads up that this is a tool that you can use by differentiating it. Add an icon to the side, change the color. Same kind of thing that people know that the main nav is a navigation simply by its location on the page, and then you have these hover effects that kind of help prove that. Down here, there's no distinction, so definitely tweak that. Oh, okay, there we go.
Are we going into the under the hood?
I think we are. Is that
I think
time
we should, wrap it
It's
up.
time?
It's
All right.
almost one.
So I've already mentioned several times for the other websites, a lot of these are kind of the same problem. Like your WordPress and WooCommerce version number is on your meta tag header or inside your header. So that's a problem. Exploits, we've already talked about this. Also, the fact that with WordPress, there's just so many HTTP requests because there's so many files because it's dynamically generated because it's all rendered on the server. So in Jamstack, I believe that that's a better solution because it's rendered out inside the browser and it loads much faster. So kind of talked about that. It's basically just a different approach of building a website. And then also, while I was crawling around inside your hood, I saw kind of crumbles of the WooCommerce bookings tool. Do you use WooCommerce bookings with your clients?
I do have a page that's not accessible like through the menus that I send them to book, and you can also do recurring payments because I have like retainers and stuff.
Yeah.
That I use for the site. It was accessible at one time, but now I just send them a link because it's kind of too confusing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally in the middle of like redoing everything right now.
Yeah. I definitely think that's an interesting thing though for doing sales.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like within web design or web development, having a actual portal that you can send people to make their payments and actually have like an invoice there to pay for rather than doing it through like another party.
Gotcha. So I'm going to catch everybody up here. So basically Lasser found in the actual code a plugin called WooCommerce Bookings, and that allows people to pay for events and allows people to pay for recurring services.
Yeah.
And so there's that functionality in the site, and he was like, where is it? And it's hidden for good reason, but that was definitely interesting. All right, so let's wrap this up. Hopefully you guys got value. We experienced a ton of technical difficulties today. We persevered. This is raw. This is unscripted, unrehearsed. And hopefully Chris doesn't rip us a new one after this.
I'm not going to rip anybody a new one.
Oh, boy. But before we go, I have a list of people who donated. That's not the right sound.
Sorry, hit the wrong button.
God.
Turn on the screen here. I can't even see anything.
All right, so I have a massive list of people who donated to our website, thefutur.com, over the past 30 days. And I'm going to read everybody's name. And basically, we don't get the chance to thank you guys publicly when you donate through the website because it doesn't show up in the chat. And so we always, after we end the live stream, we go back through our emails and we see all these donations come in, and we're like, oh man, we missed this opportunity. And if you guys tuned in yesterday, I think that I was supposed to do that instead of a federal crime, opening Chris's mail yesterday.
How dare you? Don't open my email.
All right, so first up, I want to call out two very special individuals who donated $100 each. First being Arun Sharma.
Arun.
Sharma.
Scientist
X. Look, hold on.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hold on. You're going to get the whole crowd mad. That's Aaron's BFF, Arun.
Oh, man, we got something
they have
special
a man
for
crush.
you. Yeah. We have something special for you. Okay, and then the second person who donated $100 is Carlos Hernandez. Thank you sincerely from the bottom of our hearts. Every penny goes towards producing the show. Every penny goes towards paying for Lasseter to sit here.
That's right.
He thanks you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
That wasn't forced. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to quickly read through the list of everybody else. We're going to go with Aaron Stanley, Abdullah Khaled, Alexandria Lacheva, Andrea Manconi, Andy Meicha, Anne-Marie Van Dyke, Arun Sharma, again with $5, so he donated $105. We've got 2 donations from Beat Zuner, 2 donations from Karina Melander, Karmit Halar, Chris Sayer, Colin Rogets, David Soto, Elliot Boothman, Philippe Sipos, Girish Unday. We got Jason Harrison, Jesse Brown, Jewel Fain, Karen Milan, Maret Arix. Guys, I'm so sorry for butchering your name.
Yep, pretty much destroyed him.
Mark Outermans, Maxim Mazin, Namiko Yodono, Nicoletta Anton, Pablo Mora, Paul, Chetro Sanu, Peggy Royster, Philip Mahanis, Philip Clayton, Raj S., Samuel Shirrell, Tina Urich, Tracy Poisner, Victor Cabrera. Oh my God. It is Vigfus Valgerson. Thank you. And then the last one, Jan Ng. Help me out. Somebody, please.
Jan Ing, probably.
And finally,
Can we just get the whitest white guy to read all these ethnic names? Can we just do that? John Smith, fine. Yan
Finally.
Ing, come on, let's work on that.
We have Wilfredo Martinez, who donated
3,000.
times.
Oh.
He donates every single
Yeah.
live stream, either through Super Chat or from the website. We see that, Wilfredo. Thank you very much.
I get that.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys and gals who donate every single time. And
Tony Lopez.
Tony Lopez.
Yeah.
Antonio
awesome.
Lopez is excellent. He's good people. He's really good people. No, he didn't really donate $3,000, guys. I was just messing around there, obviously. I mean, we need a rich patron to help us out. Somebody contact Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. Let's get this going.
All right, cool. So in closing, let's talk about the Future Con 2017. Chris.
There's Tony Lopez right on cue. Right on cue.
Signed poster. Thank you, Tony.
That's awesome.
Tony's the man.
That's
and if he wants a
awesome.
signed poster, it's coming to you, baby.
That's right. We'll send you one of
Baby.
Aaron. All right, so October 13th through the 15th is the Future Conference 2017. Chris, what are the people going to get when they attend this thing?
Well, it's on that today you're reviewing websites. And that's one of the things that you guys, if you guys get it right, business leads will come to you.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we talk about in terms of inbound marketing. A lot of us are introverted. I just got off the phone earlier today doing a podcast with Ian Paget, Logo Geek. And he was talking about how he does 0 sales, 0 marketing, and when he opens his inbox, it's full of inquiries. So it's important for us to align our company, our brand, towards the kind of clients that we'd like to work with. So there's an alignment issue. Right. And that's something I would have loved to talk about during this critique, but you're running the show. We want to make sure we're aligned. Like, big picture first, guys, before we kind of get into the weeds. Big picture, let's make sure our brands are aligned correctly. Let's make sure the value proposition is clear and upfront. Let's not talk about ourselves. Let's talk about what we're going to do for our clients. And let's go through what the top 3 objections are of somebody coming onto your site. Why wouldn't they hire you? And then we can get into the design part. So this is going to be a hands-on workshop. Everybody needs to bring their laptop. They got to be ready to work. You're going to be asked to pitch your deck right at the beginning of the event. Ooh. We're also going to set up our cameras here for you to take better headshots and to shoot a little intro video for your site, because video helps to boost traffic to your site. So you got to get all that stuff ready. And we're going to spend a lot of time together. Friday night, we're going to get together for dinner, and that's part of your ticket price. And then I'm going to provide breakfast and lunch for everybody. And you're going to network and to meet some really high-level people. It's going to be an incredible experience.
Yeah, and detailed information, including a schedule that breaks it down by half hour, is found on our Facebook page. If you go to the Futures Facebook page and then click events, it's the one happening on October 13th. All right, I think that's it, guys. Chris, do you want to have any last words and close out the show?
Yeah, I just want to say a big shout out to all the people, the fun, fine people I met over at Half Res in Chicago. That's where I was, you guys. And it was wonderful to be around people. And I'm just blown away by how many people our show has impacted. Usually when I go out and speak and ask, how many people have watched the show? And there's a handful of hands. And the more we do this, more hands come up and my heart starts to swell a little bit. And so this time, when Nick Campbell, the guy who runs Grayscale Gorilla, when he got on stage and he said, we're going to have Chris come up, just out of curiosity, how many of you guys have seen The Future or have seen anything they've produced? And not only did they raise their hand, they were like hooting and hollering. I was like, damn.
Wow.
We're doing something right here, you guys.
Good.
People in the Midwest, we're touching people. And I got a little emotional. And I don't get emotional. Somebody forgot to turn off my phone in the back there. And I was on stage and I said, I'm talking to people before the show and they each come up to me and they tell me how we're making a difference in the world and it's helped them win a job or it's helped to give them confidence or to go from being staff somewhere and going independent business. Then I didn't say freelance. I said independent business. I'm like, good for you. You're listening. You're paying attention. Good for you. And then I get up on stage and I could feel it. I could feel like my voice cracking a little bit. I'm like, no. Don't do it.
Show emotion.
No.
Let them know.
No.
You're not
emotion.
a robot.
This is a Terminator. No, but I was just I was touched. I was genuinely, honestly touched. And that night was amazing. We rocked it till like 1 a.m. or something. It was just ridiculous. So
cool.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. And I hope to be bringing on some audience from the Midwest. because they share a very unique perspective about being very earnest, hardworking, just family values. And I want to get them on the show to see if we can help them specifically.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. Next Tuesday, we're back on the Christo train. And so be sure to tune in Tuesday at 11. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.